God's sake, man. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Oh, God, all right, just end it. Can't be doing with it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Professionalism, as always. Welcome back to Connor and Brownie. We're back here with the One Leeds video. We just thought we'd hop on and talk to you guys about a few topics that, listen, have been circling the Leeds United Twitter sphere and online sphere over the past couple of weeks. We know you're bored. We're certainly bored. There's nothing to do. I couldn't do this by myself, to be honest. I needed a partner in crime to come along with me and discuss everything in the world of Leeds, I guess. That's what we're going on right now. Brownie, my friend, how we doing?
I'm good, mate. Like you say, yeah, Brentford seems so long ago. It does. I mean, the last few days has been sad for the country and everything, but as a football in general, just Brentford away, I mean, it was a horror show that we wanted to forget, but it just seems ages ago. And then again, when we look at our next fixtures, not till after the international break, well, how long will that be? That'll be what, 5 weeks?
I think it's 29 days. I think I've seen online, so it'll literally be a month. It's 2nd of October, isn't it?
Which, I mean, is a logistical nightmare for the Premier League with the World Cup in the middle of it already. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see when we play them from over the hill, because obviously the policing is the reason for this weekend, but all the best policing on a midweek night.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, one of my good mates is a big Man United fan, and he was saying that there's absolutely no chance that it's going to be played on a weekend. So I think now, Brownie, what they're going to have to do is put it in January, and obviously you're going to get the congestion as well with Nottingham Forest being in there. It's going to be a bit chaotic, and it's definitely going to stretch the resources at Leeds, isn't it?
Yeah, well, after January, we'll have probably been knocked out of the FA Cup by some League Two team. So for us, it won't be all right. But for others, they might be deep into European competition. So, hey, come February, March, it might help us. It might help us that they're having to jam a game in somewhere. But, yeah, listen, we spoke off air, the game last night against Forest. Was there any reason to call that off? It wasn't part... They used the reason it was the same game weekend as the games on Saturday and Sunday, but yet fast forward a few days, you've got games taking place where others aren't. So I really don't get why they all had to be called off when
games in London too. Games in London.
Yeah, I mean, you look forward to this weekend, and they're not playing all the games. So why last weekend did the Monday night game have to go when there was other games in the country? There was games in the Conference North, there were games in the FA Trophy. It wasn't like football came to a stop on that Monday. So last night was a bit of a weird one, which would probably have helped us with the fixture congestion down the road. But that's something for the FA now. They're really going to have to find something, because Man United, obviously in the Europa League, you expect them to go quite deep into that competition. So they've got a bit of a problem on their hands. But yeah, for us, I think we weren't exactly in peak form, were we? So maybe it was a nice time to get a break. Rodrigo, it's crazy. He'll have dislocated his shoulder and only missed Brentford.
I know as well. You think about it, and you look at exactly what's going to be going on as well. It's only going to be a certain amount of time before we break up for the World Cup as well. So it's going to be very absent when it comes to Leeds United football. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, I think we looked at the whole not bringing in players in the transfer window, and then I think I saw that it was only 13 games, including the League Cup game, where the transfer window would be open again, or something around that area. There's 2 of them gone already, so it's one step closer to being able to sign players again.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's a positive, isn't it? But like you were
trying to look at all the positives we can after conceding 5 to Brentford, to be honest.
That's it, mate. And we're definitely going to get into that. We'll get some comments in. Ian Blackwood, a massive fan of the channel. He's here all the time. Hi, Ian. Regards from Wales. I've been watching German and Norwegian football, Stuttgart and Tromsø, to have a football fix. I'm not going to lie, Brownie. I did think to myself at the weekend, I thought, you know what? I'll stick some. I think Bayern were playing. They were probably
Stuttgart,
playing
wasn't it? I think
Stuttgart, and I don't know if they stuck 12 past them or something like that. But I look at the Bundesliga and I think it's worse than the SPL in terms of just inevitabilities. We know what's going to happen. Bayern are going to win the league by 42 points every year, so couldn't really get into that. And there wasn't any real La Liga games that I was going to get my teeth into. I think Barca were playing Cadiz and Madrid were playing some other nobodies as well.
Yeah,
and
it felt like
I think the game of the week, Brownie. I think the game of the weekend, mate, was like Marseille Lille, and we were actually having a chat amongst it was Marseille yeah, I think it was Marseille Lille, but we were actually having a chat, mate, and it's actually got to a point with me now. I don't know if you're the same, but me and my buddies were talking about it. I would actively rather watch Aston Villa versus Southampton than any other real top pedigree European match. Take out maybe Real Madrid versus Barcelona and AC Milan versus Inter Milan. I don't know if you're on the same thing there.
Yeah, it's never. I'll be honest. I mean, when we see these names come up from places in Europe, I'm obviously on the phone to you and KG and who's this? What's this guy? Because my knowledge outside of England, I mean, if you had people in the comments of Public Play Football Manager, do you know you have the bars of how much they know about each country? I mean, England would be off the floor, and then every other country would be minute. I've just never really, growing up, I've never really been involved with football out of other leagues. Maybe that's, I don't know, what's the right word, snobbish or what, I don't know. But I've just always been about English football and that's what really gets me going. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the end of the Juventus game. I don't know if anybody caught that. That was pretty epic. I mean,
it's all over socials, wasn't it? If you don't know what happened, Salah, I can't even pronounce the name. Someone will do it in the comment section below. Salatana or something like that. Sorry, mulled that pronunciation. But it was 2-2, and Juve thought they got a winner. I think it was Milik, wasn't it? Milik got the winner, took his top off, and it was disallowed. And I think he got sent off. Did he?
Well, there was, I think, 3-4 red cards after that goal. It just turned into carnage because, I mean, obviously you're seeing the pictures with the VAR disallowing the goal because they only looked at one angle, where in actual fact there was someone stood in the corner quadrant near the corner flag that kept everybody on side. Yeah. I mean, we laugh and joke, but if that's Leeds Man United and there's Scott McTominay doing his shoelace in the corner, I think there'd be a riot.
Yeah, I think as well. You know, you touched on VAR there, and everybody in the comment section below, let us know what you're doing. There's a difference here. There's a difference here when it comes to this sort of stream. It's a little bit more relaxed. We're not amped up over Leeds, and we're not getting irked about Leeds. In you know, when I'm looking at myself. But get yourselves in the comment section below. And let us know what you are doing, because I need advice until the 2nd of October in terms of just doing stuff regarding sports. But
it was weird, I mean, it didn't even feel like a Saturday. It didn't feel like a Sunday. I was driving. I remember driving to the supermarket. I thought, what day? It was like being in the school holidays back being a kid. What day is it? Like, it was so strange, and especially with other sports being played, and it was just football that was cancelled. It just, I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's no right answer to what happened and how you deal with it all, but it just felt very strange and very odd. But hopefully, it comes as a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, Ethan said that he's watching the Champions League games. Katrina said she's watching UCL and WWE. I don't know about you, Brownie, but I'm a big fan of the UFC. I'm a huge fan of fighting. So, I know a lot of people are in the cricket. Paul's saying he's watched the cricket, and a lot of people are into the rugby. Yeah, I'm a little bit into combat sports. That's about it. What about you, mate? Have you got any sort of alternative sports that you like to, have a dabble in?
I mean, I watched a bit of the US Open. I don't mind a bit of tennis and that. There was the young kid. From Spain who won that, but I think someone in the comments said it's bang on. It was just like the whole COVID. It felt like the COVID situation again. It really did. Where
it did.
Like what? I mean this in the greatest respect. What do people do who don't like football? Like, what do they do with that? Like, I don't know how you feel.
It won't be on here. I'll tell you that.
What do people do? I don't. I mean, like I say, I watched a bit of the US Open. It was the final, but there's only so much of that you can watch. Ball going backwards and forwards over a net. Like, I don't know.
Someone's just said as well, there's been I think there's a comment about law as well, researching common law and the legal fiction. Currently, with work, mate, I'm having to study law. If anyone knows anything of Essential Law for Journalists, 26th edition with McNays, please help me out through this. Look at the thickness of that. So that's how bored I am at the minute, Brownie. I'm just reading law. So yeah, there you go. I had to do this.
Me and my lad are building a Disney castle, which he got, and it seemed a good idea at the time until I opened it, and I'm not even exaggerating. It looked like there was 70,000 pieces of Lego.
Yeah, there is. I mean, Lego is a nightmare. I mean, I've never. The worst thing about Lego as well is, and obviously I know you'll be doing it with your lad, but when you put it all away, and then there'll always be one piece on the floor, and it's like a plug. You go and stand on it, and you're recovering for 4 years.
The instruction book had 490 pages, so that's where we are at football. So the sooner football come back, the better for us. But yeah, we can't be too downhearted. We're still in the top 10, so still a top half finish.
I mean, we've done 10 minutes on real life. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. We don't normally do that, but one thing I wanted to discuss, mate. We were talking about it a little bit earlier as well. Is VAR, and I know people in the comment section below. If you want to get involved in your perspective on this, please let us know in the comment section below. Listen, I know it's a very controversial topic at the minute, but I wanted to ask you a direct question, everybody in the comments, and Brownie. Has football improved with VAR?
No, I don't think it has.
And let me put a little bit of context behind that. There was 10 controversial decisions in the weekend that we played Brentford, and some of them, Brownie, I think we actually came away as Leeds United fans and thought, wow. I mean, we thought we were hard done by. I mean, there's an argument in that Brentford game. 3 of the goals you could put down to VAR, 2 of them down to Diego Llorente, obviously. But, you know, when you look at the other games, mate, when you look at West Ham, last-minute equaliser against Chelsea and that getting chalked off, that was, I mean, the Newcastle one as well.
Jump in on there on that West Ham one. The Gerard Bowen thing, I remember being at an FA Cup game last year where Gerard Bowen wasn't interfering with play when it came near the keeper. So to be honest, I was laughing.
but in general, I mean, mate, it's I feel
the money involved with football now, and I mean, you've seen Thomas Tuchel. He's won a European Cup, and now he's out of a job. It's a cutthroat business now. People, I mean, they've paid a fortune, so it's not like they're going to need to go to the job centre and what have you. But people can be out of work.
Yeah,
it's a results-driven business, and I think before VAR, obviously, we all had a moan about referees and they're getting this decision wrong, and we'd moan about this decision. We're still doing it.
Yep.
We're still moaning about referees. We're still moaning about they're getting this decision wrong, and they're getting that wrong, and that should have been a foul with VAR in it. So what is it? What are we gaining from it? And what's winding me up is I think you could accept when a referee made a mistake back in the day. Like as players, I've been a player. You've played football. You make mistakes. It's natural. You're not going to be perfect all the time. It's natural a referee makes mistakes. What I can't accept now though is they're making mistakes whilst watching the replay of it. They're watching a replay over and over again, and it's not a quick 10 seconds. All right, that's the decision. The ruling was clear and obvious error. The Leeds penalty decision, it took about 3 minutes. I remember watching the Man United Arsenal game the next day where I think it was Odegaard on Eriksen. Again, took 2.5 minutes.
It's killing the flow, isn't it? It really is killing the flow of the game.
If the wording is clear and obvious error, it shouldn't be taking 2.5 minutes. Clear and obvious error is oh God, I can't believe I missed that. Foul. Done. But it's just, it was brought in to help the game, and people might disagree, but we're still moaning about decisions and referees. And is it my other question, the caveat to that is it a different game to the rest of the English pyramid? Because, I mean, the Championship, League One, League Two, Conference, Evo Stick, football, they don't have VAR. They've not had to resign and not play football. They've managed to carry on going.
And do you know what it is as well? It is, Brownie. You almost think it's like an elitism. It's like a capitalist thing. It's like everybody at the top gets the best things, but you don't really hear from the lower leagues. And obviously, you'll know a little bit more about this than the majority of us. You don't really hear from the lower leagues, even just when you look at the Championship and League One, a clamour for VAR to be introduced. It's just like, no, you can keep that. You can keep that. And it's almost like, I mean, I don't know if you've, spoken to mates or people in the know in the lower divisions, but even my mates who are fans of Preston and Barnsley and Norwich, they actually are getting, if they're, let's say Norwich, if they're going to get promoted, they're actually looking at the Premier League and going, oh no, we have to deal with VAR. Yeah. So you actually, and you look at the officiating in the Championship, how bad that was. It's a bad situation, isn't it?
People have played obviously League One, League Two, Conference level. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it involved. Nobody wants it in the game. Fans at the game is a big one for me because, I mean, even Leeds themselves won the T-shirts for the fans, football for the fans and all that. You don't have a clue what's going on in the ground. It's not on the screen. It don't come up on the screen until the referee's actually given the decision. Nobody has a clue. It's not quick. It slows the game down. It's a no for me. But will they get rid of it? Probably not. They spent too much money on it.
I think there's too much money in it, mate. There's way too much
money
in it.
And they'll just look stupid. And the rest of Europe do it. But I kept hearing this, it works elsewhere. Well, as we saw in the Juventus game, it don't. I mean, that's criminal.
I think there's an argument in other sports it works, especially when you're looking at rugby.
Yeah, and tennis again. But they're in tennis, so like Hawkeye, is the ball in or out? I can be on board with that because it's a black and white decision. It's either in or it's out. Like the goal line technology, I'm fully for that. It's a quick bleep on the watch, goal given. Because there's no right or wrong. It is either a goal or it isn't. But with fouls, I mean, that I touch on that Odegaard Ericsson one again. In the same day, in the Brighton Leicester one, there was Yuri Tielemans on Sunny March. Exact same thing. Don't even get looked at though. It was a goal given. And this is my problem with it. This VAR. I really do think that certain clubs get decisions looked at more. I'm almost certain that certain teams, it's that top six argument again. And I think their decisions are scrutinised a lot more than if it was, say, like the Brighton Leicester or Southampton Palace. I really do. I think the games are that more high profile because they're in Europe and whatnot. I do. I don't want to use the word cheat, but there can be a way of formulating results just off VAR. And it's scary. All these decisions that are going in favour of teams and not, they never seem to be against the top teams. You look at West Ham hard done by, Newcastle hard done by. We could have a catalogue of decisions that have been hard done by. Can someone tell me one where Liverpool or Man City? I mean, there was we loved it last year when obviously Man City got the penalty against Everton because we were in clear combat, like we were in neck and neck with Everton for going down. But that was never a penalty when Ruben Diaz, the Diaz thing, right? He's handled the ball and Everton didn't get the penalty. But the other end, it's hard to argue. Would it get given?
But it's interesting. Your brother here, or another Steve Brown, says, "Do you think refs are now failing to make a decision because they think VAR will help them out?" I think, Steve, that it's evident now. The responsibility and the pressure of the referees back in the day, Uriah Rennie, Graham Paul, when they used to have to make serious decisions, Mark Clattenburg, Howard Webb, and they get scrutinised for it. You're almost not seeing that public vitriol when it comes to these referees anymore. It's all been honed in on VAR, and I know that's watched over. The referees work VAR, don't they? But almost that single person, the man in black on the pitch who's getting all the raw abuse, it doesn't really happen anymore because everything's targeted at VAR, because VAR is monitored obviously by several referees and they're making the decisions. And yeah, it almost does feel like if the referee makes a decision but VAR has a different look at it, the referee will just change his mind, and that's that. And
are referees not making decisions because they know that VAR will pick it up if they need to? Are they hesitant on doing things? And this, in any walk of life, you don't want to slag your workmates. You don't want to slag them off. You don't want to chuck them under the bus in any job you have. Should referees be in the VAR booth? Because they're all mates. They all work together. They're not going to highlight something if they don't need to. And I don't know. It's just there's no retrospective action for them.
Well, I think that's why, but what Bully's talking about as well, why aren't refs made to come out after a game and explain their awful decision? I think that'd be self-sabotage, mate. I think that really would be. And they're never going to let them do that.
So say the people from the VAR booth, I think I saw that there was one in the Chelsea West Ham game. Yeah. He then had a match the next day in the Premier League.
Yeah, he did.
There's no comeback. There's no not suspension, but there's no
putting him down the league.
There's nothing to there's nothing to warrant them. So what if I got it wrong? Oh well, never mind. I'll just ref another game tomorrow. There's no implications to them. That's the right word I was looking for. But whereas for the club and the team, there's massive implications. That could stop the money in the Premier League now. A few spaces is 5 or 6 million. It's huge.
Well, I think Trotsky's bang on. I hate even talking about VAR. It's not a sport. It's not football. It's frustrating and boring. You're right, mate. I think it's just something we experienced last. So let's experience with Brentford in particular, and it was a whole host of diabolical decisions, and we haven't really touched on the channel. So I'll tell you what. Let's move on. Comment section below. Let us know, everybody. Does the break, which is now going to be 29 days, obviously Leeds returning against a fixture. By the way, that fixture, David Brown, against Aston Villa, an absolutely out of sorts Aston Villa. Steven Gerrard on the line becomes absolutely huge for Leeds United. It feels like that is a must-win already. And revenge for the last time Villa came to Ellen Road and really put on a show against us and we couldn't touch the ball for 90 minutes is definitely on the cards. But we've seen before, Brownie, with the breaks under Marcelo Bielsa, they didn't really work, did they? With the Bielsa system, it was always mostly about getting back into the rhythm of things straight away. You know, in the Championship, if Leeds ballsed up a Saturday fixture, it was about getting back on it on Tuesday. We've never really been a team who likes to delay with this fast-flowing football, this energetic pressing football, which is still a thing under Jesse Marsch. It almost looks like it'd favour Leeds if Leeds were to play straight away, which we would have done. Obviously, you know, the Forest game and the Man United game without such a break. Do you think this is going to benefit Leeds at all? What are your thoughts on it, mate?
Oh, just a quick one then. When you were mentioning Bielsa, I was looking at the league table and scored 10, conceded 10. I thought he was still in charge. This big change away from that, nothing seems to have really changed in that respect. But the positive thing I'm looking at it from is, again, I think the only injured player will be Stuart Dallas come the time we come back. That's got to be a huge positive, obviously. I mean, I'm saying Bamford will be healed unless he's tripped over a TV remote or something by then, but he should be healed and back playing.
Out for a year.
I mean, Rodrigo, he was meant to be out for 3 weeks. We saw the Christensen news a couple of weeks, but he's been named in the Denmark squad, so he should be back. Firpo should be closer. There's only really Dallas that's going to be out. So that's got to be a huge positive for Jesse Marsch. He's got everybody available. I mean, it was 1 point from 9. So it wasn't like we were 5 wins out of 5 like pre-COVID and we were thinking, oh my God, we don't want football to stop. But it is a big game. It really is, because that good start we've had has quickly become 1 point from 9. And if it becomes 1 point from 12, all that good work at the start of the season, the Chelsea result, and that seems to have been undone, so to speak. And it's a big game for Leeds, but it's huge for Villa. I mean, they sit 17th. It's been a disastrous start. So yeah, it's a huge game. I'm kind of, obviously I wanted football on this weekend, but it's not an easy game, Man United away, is it?
I was thinking the exact same. Like, you wouldn't
Man
want
United away, and then you're off on international break, and you got to sit and stew on that for 2 weeks. So maybe the cynical side of us is thinking, I'm glad that's off.
Yeah, I can. I mean, the likelihood is we'd have got absolutely drilled by them, isn't it? It's the likelihood, isn't it? It seems that if you're following trends and patterns and all that sort of stuff, hopefully it'd been different this time. But
yeah, they've started to play a little bit now. They've got Maguire out of the team, and they've started to play a little bit, and they're doing well at home. So I mean, the Sociedad result was a bit of a blip for them, but they changed the team around and that. So yeah, our recent results at Old Trafford aren't great, let's say. So maybe it was a little blessing in disguise, and hopefully it's given Jesse Marsch a lot of time on the training ground to really stamp down. It's like another little mini pre-season for him, isn't it? He's had the summer to get his ideas across, and now he's got another month to drill it in. So hopefully it's a huge positive for us, and we do kick on, because I mean, like I said, the Forest result was big, but the next two, what is it, Villa, Palace?
From Palace, yeah.
Need a win. Need a win.
I think so. I think when you look at those, I mean, we were talking about on the debrief, obviously, and we were saying I think it was the week starting of, it was before the Brighton game. We were looking at the Brighton and just the Everton game, and obviously, you know, things have happened. It is what it is. But you are looking at those two games, and a fantastic week would have brought, in my opinion, 4 points home. Obviously, an exceptional week would have been 6 points, but I think it was realistic for us to get 4 points at that time. You know, that momentum that we were on, and you were thinking, flipping out, it's a little bit of a different Leeds at the minute. You know, we look a little bit more assured at the back. We're pressing teams into oblivion. We deserve to beat Southampton, so we should have been on more points. And I don't really know what's happened, Brownie. I don't really know what's happened, because you know, you look at the Brighton game, and for me, Leeds weren't in that game. I thought for a spell we we had a little bit. We had sort of 15, 20. We're not going to go over the full games. Obviously, we're not. 15, 20 minutes where we were all right, but I don't think we massively looked threatening. The Everton game, we were definitely the better team, but I was still a little bit worried, Brownie. You look at that Damari Gray offside goal where, I mean, that is an inch, isn't it? That is millimetres off being 2-1 Everton. And then
I think that's onside. We've got to be fair. I think it's onside.
That's it. You've got to be balanced. I mean, for me, that there's no way that should have been ruled out. And then you look at, Nathan Patterson chance at the end. It just seems, and then obviously the 5 against Brentford, just seems a little bit at the minute that Leeds are becoming a little bit more and more exposed, aren't they? We look a little bit more vulnerable. I don't really know what's happened in the past 3 games. And Brownie, I will just say, just to end the rant here, it's not just the Brighton game, we didn't concede that many goals. Obviously, only conceded the 1. The Everton game, we didn't just, we only conceded a goal, didn't we? But I think we needed a win there. And not only that, but we are giving up a fair few chances, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, we said that throughout pre-season. The way we played in pre-season, it looked like it was going to be like that. If the counter press is brilliant, like look at the Chelsea game, we got the ball off Mendy and we pressed Gallagher quite a lot. If it works, it's brilliant. But the second it doesn't, you open and we're going to give chances. I think I agree. Brighton, we didn't deserve anything from that game at all. Everton, I don't know. We had some good chances ourselves. You look at Gelhardt; he should put us in the lead. Rumor has it Pickford's still taking a goal kick. It was a frustrating night. That it really was. The Brentford one, I don't know. The scoreline, if you just come down from Mars and saw 5-2, you'd think we'd been absolutely hammered.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
It didn't feel like that at all. I mean, if Brighton would have beaten us 5-2, you could have probably took it with the way the game went.
Yeah.
But the Brentford one, I think, again, we've touched on VAR. Decisions really impacted that game a lot. A lot. I mean, I don't think it's a free kick. It's a great free kick that he's put into the top corner. It's a great strike, but the decision to give the free kick. Somerville, I mean, how that's not a foul. Maybe we'll touch on Jesse Marsh on the touchline, but I can understand why he's frustrated. I really can. I mean, how you can give one decision in the same game and not give that is, I mean, staggering. But yeah, the Brentford one for me, I don't think it was all that bad. I know we've conceded 5, 1 penalty, 1 free kick, 2 defensive errors. If you'd have come away from that with 4 points from 9, it's a lot better.
Of course.
But I'm looking at the fixtures coming up, and before the Wolves game in the Carling Cup, I say Carling Cup, show my age there, Carabao Cup, in November, it's not a bad fixture list. We've got some good home games. We've got Villa, we've got Fulham, we've got Bournemouth. Arsenal at home look good. Leicester away. I mean, I'm not reading out Liverpool away on purpose, but other than that, it's a nice run of fixtures, and if we ain't picking up points in that, then I think it is a worry. But where we are at the minute, I don't think it's been that bad. 1 point from 9 doesn't sound good, but I think on the balance of playing the Everton game, we did more than enough to win that game. There was only one team trying to win that game. It was staggering how there was only 3 minutes added on at the end of that game. I still don't understand the added time scenario. They were killing the clock from the first minute, but that's what we're going to have to counteract. We've got to find ways to sort that out, because teams are going to come, and it is a bit of a compliment to us that teams are now coming to Ellen Road, and they are. If they get a point at Ellen Road, it's a good result for them. So they are going to come and kill the clock. I'd like to see us do that at places, though. I'd like to see our cynical. I'd like to see our cynical approach. If we could go to somewhere and really frustrate teams, but yeah, the next month, once we get back playing football, the next month is a big month before the World Cup break.
He comes in the building, says, sorry I'm late, lads. Was thinking on the way home there, this Man United cancellation might be a blessing in disguise. I think with the momentum they had, Rashford would put 6 past us. Yeah, it seems at the minute, mate, that, I mean, they are on fire, to be fair. And you got to look at them at home as well. At home, they've already beaten Liverpool and Arsenal. So I think that would have been a tough one. But Brownie, there is a lot of chat at the minute. Obviously, there's no point in chatting about centre forwards, everybody, because there is nothing Leeds United can do about that, but something we can do something about is our defence. Now, obviously, the Brentford game is the fixture we're going to look at. I think the Everton game you can pull in there as well. You obviously can look at the Brighton game, but you can go as far back as you want there. But I think there's one man who, for me, needs to be left out for the foreseeable future. To be quite honest with you, us not investing in the left back was obviously a problem because you could have brought our best centre back to partner Robin Koch. But are you in the same position, mate, thinking to yourself that Diego Llorente needs a little bit of a rest now, or are you thinking just to stay with him and let's see what happens?
Well, again, this break might have been a blessing in disguise for him because he was struggling. He was, and I'm not sure really why because I think he's been good for us whilst he's been here. But he's erratic at times, but I think he's the only centre-back that will pass that ball through the middle of the pitch, which Jesse Marsch likes to play. He likes to play the ball forward constantly. Like, he don't want to play this pass. He wants to get forward as quick as he can. And it's good, it's effective. And he does like to play that ball through the middle. He's the only one I see doing out of that at the back. However, it's a bit like when we talk about keepers. It's all right being able to kick it out, but if you can't catch it, you're pointless. So if he can't defend, stop runners getting in behind him, then that pass forward's irrelevant because the ball's going to keep going into your net.
I've got a question from you as a former striker. Now, for me, I know I'd probably disagree with you in terms of you saying that for you he's been good. I can't really think of any sustained period when he's been good, and I think when he has been half decent, I think you've got to attribute a lot of that to the defensive midfielders in front of him, and maybe Leeds' offensive players dominating the game. I think when there's a lot of defensive onus put on him in a Premier League game, he massively struggles. Struggles.
What I'll say to that is, on the flip side to that midfield, we've waxed lyricals about our midfield for the start of the season. We've said Tyler Adams has been unbelievable. So it's not like he's not got a good midfielder in front of him. So that's kind of like for like. I don't know I don't know what it is. I mean, the run of games in the Bielsa season where we went 9 unbeaten or something, I think he played in most of them. Last season, people will absolutely slander me for this, and I don't care. I thought Stroik wasn't great in that Bielsa period where he got the sack. I thought there was countless goals where he was at fault for. I look back to the Liverpool game where it was 6-0. There were times in that game where I don't even know where he thinks he was playing. The Tottenham game at home, the 4-0, he got done, but so did Llorente in that game. There was the one on the family stand side where I don't even know. He just finds himself in positions where I bet if he watched the video back, he'd say to himself, "Why am I there?"
So it sounds like you're talking about a defensive midfielder. You're not talking about a centre back then, because I don't know if you're what striker. I said this on a video I did previously. What striker is wary about Diego Llorente? Because Welbeck bullied him. Tony bullied him, which is fair enough. I think Tony's one of the best strikers in the division. But diminutive strikers, small strikers, also have a field day against him. So what is he? What are we looking at here? Is he physical? No. Is he demanding in the air? No. Is he a leader? No. Is he mistake ridden? Yes.
I think I disagree on the leader. I do.
He's a leader.
I do see him balling and dragging people over, and I do see that in him.
Do you think he's more like a headless chicken when he's doing that, as in he's just panicking?
No, last year under Bielsa, when we had to be very calm and conservative and not argue with the referee and not do this and not do that, he was the only one doing it in the team. He was the only one screaming and demanding things. So I don't think now that we've got other people doing it, we can say that he doesn't do that. But I agree, he's not physical. He's injury prone. You can't take that away from him. He's out a lot. He misses a lot of games.
Do you know a stat? You know, Real Sociedad, they've not replaced him as a centre back, and last year they had one of the best defences in Europe.
I mean, we've not replaced Chris Wood, but I'm joking.
No, but do you know what?
I know what you're saying. There was a reason why he was so cheap. In the world of football now, there was a reason why he was only 13 million. He was only in the teens of. We hadn't gone out and spent a fortune on him.
I mean, Steve Brown says Llorente's reading of the game is his worst attribute. He dives into challenges when he needs to stand. I think that's a really good point. You always, when he dives into challenges, and then you'll see them progressing offensively. There's always a massive hole in the defense. His aerial ability is poor, and he's slow to identify the runs the striker is going to make. Do you know what it is, Brownie? I just think we are such a forgiving fan base when it comes to players and giving them chances. I just wonder what is going to be the point with this lad, because that Brentford performance, I mean, that.
I agree. I agree. He's massively. He's struggling. Massively struggling. He really is. I agree with you again about Strike being out of left back, but again, it's square pegs FC. We're having to play players out in different positions when we shouldn't be needing to.
And Diego's just said it right here. He just said, "Yeah, playing a high line with slow, incompetent defenders." So that's another thing in it, Brown. It's when the amount of times Brentford got in and behind, it was almost like it was just. I know what you're going to say. I mean,
one of the goals was Cox's fault.
It was, yeah.
I mean, so when you're looking at 5 conceded, one's a penalty from Sinisterra. One is, well, 2 of them were Llorente. One's Cox. I don't know. I still don't know what he's trying to do with the header. And then Llorente is out of position. I
think that last one summed it up a little bit, didn't it? When you Cruyff turning and Ivan Stone is just closing you down. I think that just summed it up, didn't it?
But then on the flip side, take the Brentford game out of it, and we're not conceding many goals. Brighton 1, Chelsea none, Wolves 1, Southampton the 2 late goals, but I think they came from fullback positions with the runners. So it's a really good talking point. And again, in the comments, there's no right or wrong answer, but I do think I agree. He's struggling. He's struggling at the minute. He really is. But
let's move on to something a bit more positive. This man looks all right, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's got a bit.
They said he was going to come in and replace Rafinha, and I'm not putting him on Rafinha's pedestal yet because obviously he's now doing that at Barcelona and we loved him, but he does have that quick turn of pace, that skill when he's not giving penalties away. I mean, we first saw him in the Barnsley game when you think, right, if he can do that in the Premier League, then we've got a play on our hands. And then he's cutting inside against Everton. He's not. I don't know if this is a Jesse Marsh, but he's not playing. He's not hugging the touchline. He's coming inside. He's in and around the box. I'm excited by him, and the price when you look at them from over the hill paying 80-odd million for Anthony, and then we've got him for 23, and the goal contributions for them like both last year, where I think Sinisterra had more. So it looks like we've got a good deal on our hands, and it could go into another talking point of the board and Victor Walter. Is he actually producing all the time? Is it his? Because we had this show ages ago, didn't we, about his flops and his signings. Is he under restraints of what he can spend? And I never really said this up until it all came out about us having to get rid of Dan James to bring in the young kid from Italy, Willy Gonto. Is he having to play within a really strict budget? And then when you look at our players, you look at Koch, Levente, Sinisterra, Christiansen, Firpo, they're all between 12 to 22 million. They're all in that price bracket.
Rafinha.
They're all in that late teens, early 20s, mid-teens price bracket. It's almost as if there's a trend coming where we're only spending that. Yeah, we've gone out and spent a little bit on Aronson, a little bit more on Rodrigo, but the rest of them now are it seems to be 12 million to 22 million. Find me someone in that bracket.
Yeah.
And it's another good talking point that people can get stuck into maybe when the transfer window comes back around again. But Luis Sinisterra, I mean, he didn't start of the season because obviously he had that calf problem from the pre-season. But I think he's a starter now. I don't see how he can't play.
Well, also rumours apparently of AC Milan looking at him already.
And the start he's made has probably tipped Dan James leaving. Because Dan James started against Chelsea, and there's no way you can keep Luis Sinisterra out when he is like he is. So they must really rate him highly to allow Dan James to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And finally, everybody in the comment section, Brownie as well. I want you to just let us know, mate. Your ideal back four. Now, obviously, it looks like we're going to be returning on the 29th. Oh, sorry, on the 2nd, I should say, of October, and it looks like we're going to have a hell of a lot of the back four back.
We spoke about Llorente. I'm really torn on Christiansen as well.
Yeah. I know, but I think I've said before as well, the Ayling thing. I think the big thing about the Ayling thing is I know everyone's going to be buzzing that he came on, made a huge difference. You'll know, Brownie, 20 minutes is very different to 90 minutes. And we cannot have revisionism here when we look at Luke Ayling. Luke Ayling was terrible for large parts of last season. So I think we need to contextualize that. I think Cagey says it all the time as well. When players out, they do gain extra attributes from fans. They're suddenly amazing at this and amazing at that, when really, when they've been in the side, they haven't been all that. So I think it is key to know.
On the flip side, there is that old saying, you don't realise what you've got till it's gone. And no, I'm just
any more cliches?
I'm just playing the other side of it. I don't know if this is the way we play or not. I don't know if this is tactical or instructions, but I have not seen Christiansen over the halfway line.
No, he seems nervy, doesn't he? Very nervy.
He doesn't go over the halfway. He doesn't overlap. He doesn't. I've never seen him at the byline crossing the ball.
No.
So that element you do miss without an Ayling.
I think you've got again. Do you not think?
I don't know if that's tactical. I don't know if that's instructions to your fullbacks. Don't go past the halfway line. That's something we don't know.
Well, I think what it is with him at the minute is I think he's adapting. I think a lot of it is he's come from the Austrian division, which flipping heck. I mean, we spoke earlier on about the Bundesliga being similar to the SPL. I mean, where on earth, without any disrespect, is the Austrian Bundesliga? So he's come from there, and I think he's probably had a look at it, Brownie, and thought to himself, wow, the difference here is unbelievable. I mean, even the teams we've played, we've not even been playing the top quality teams in this division. And I think at the minute, he's a little bit fearful of going forward. I think the easy option is always to go laterally inside to Rocker, or is to go back to Ilan Melian or Robin Koch. But I do agree with you. And I think a lot of it is the defensive side of it as well. I think the defensive side of it, there's been times where he's been out jumped by smaller men. He's been bounced off the ball for a goal.
His passing.
His passing's not been. But I think, I don't know. I don't know what we do there, mate, because I think once again, like we did with Firpo, I mean, I think a lot of us did know with Firpo within the first sort of 2 or 3 games. I think it's very different with Rasmus, though. I think Rasmus, it's almost like he's a little bit nervy with Firpo straight away. In my opinion, I just didn't think he was up to it. He might be better in this system, but I just didn't think he was up to it. With Rasmus, I'm a little bit like, I still can see a little bit there, but I just think it's on. But then in the Prem, you just don't get time, do you? But I don't know if Luke Ayling's the option, mate. Are we literally going to go to a back line where it's Luke Ayling, Robin Koch, Liam Cooper, and Firpo? It's like, are we ever going to evolve?
Well, again, that loops back round to the 1 in, 1 out system that I can't believe has come out of our club in the last 10 days. It's staggering, but hey, that's it's not a completely different conversation, because that is why we are like that. That is why we are having to have these conversations about Cooper, Ayling, Firpo, because
and they wouldn't as well, Brownie. They wouldn't get in any other Premier League team first 11. They wouldn't. They're not getting in any other first 11. Liam Cooper and Luke Ayling for me. So I think that's where, as an established Premier League side, we've got to be looking at it and thinking, surely those two are backups. Surely.
Well, I'd love to have a backup. I mean, we're 3 years into the Premier League now. This is our 3rd season, and we've got 1 recognised left back.
I know.
We've got. Well, yeah, I'll throw it into it because I'll get slaughtered for this. I'm not having that Geldart's ready to start week in, week out. I'm not. We've got 1 recognised centre forward. I know Rodrigo came in as. Do people think Rodrigo's an out-and-out number 9? Where would people play Rodrigo? But experienced number 9, back to goal striker. I'm looking at Bamford, and that's it. So all over the pitch, throw Melier into it. He's 21? We've not even got an expert. I mean, brought that Robles in, but he's not even been on the bench. He wasn't even on the bench in the Carling Cup game. So where he is in the pecking order, only knows. But it's not like we have recognised players all over the pitch. It's not having one left back, Junior Firpo, signed at the club in your third year in the Premier League.
It's not. I agree. I think that third year thing's the big thing. So I think a lot of fans were very, very excited for what we could do this window. I mean, it's done now, and hopefully we're gonna change. I mean, I think the frustrating thing from my perspective is, Brown, it's exactly what happened on deadline day when it was just carnage and a pure embarrassment to the club, in my opinion. But then you look at what's going to be, what's been murmured about January as well, and Leeds going in for left backs, and Leeds still having Cody Gakpo as the number one target. I mean, it just seems like if Cody Gakpo is the number one target, there's going to be 4 or 5 other clubs in. The price is going to be drilled up to 50 million, which we all know it will do. When Leeds are looking
at the World Cup, it's going to be after the World Cup. Deadline day just felt very panicky. It just felt like, oh dear, we might have messed up a little bit here. What can we get in?
Oh, 100%.
There was words of Diaz. We signed Willy Gonto 2 weeks before. Jesse Marsh had said he's not ready for the first team. So it just felt very panicky. It felt like we'd signed him just to appease the fans a little bit, that we'd signed someone.
It did feel like that, didn't it? It did. Well, they couldn't. I think it'd have been suicide if they'd have got rid of Dan James and not brought anyone in.
Yeah, you could argue we ended deadline day weaker than we started it.
Yeah, I mean, Ian's just said here, I doubt we will bring anyone into the club in the January window. Ian, I think they'll go for someone. I do believe they'll go for someone. But I think what's going to happen is they're just going to get priced out, and it's going to be a very similar thing to what we saw on the last day of deadline day. And you'll know this as well, Brownie. Teams don't want to sell on deadline day. They don't want to sell the best players. They don't want to sell in January, especially to a club who are in desperate need. And I just don't understand why.
It's desperate, isn't it? It's desperate.
It is desperate, yeah.
If you were selling your house and someone was homeless and they desperately needed your house to live in, it's gonna cost you more. It's just the way the world. When people are desperate, it's the way of the world. People end up wanting more for it. But going back full circle and going back to Christensen, when it announced that we were signing him, it was during the that Mickey Mouse International League, whatever it's called. The Nations League, and Denmark were playing against France, and they actually went to France and won, and Christensen played, and I thought, bloody hell, this guy's decent, and he looked really good. He looked very good in the game. So look, we've played 6 games.
Yeah,
it is early days. It is early days for him, but he has looked nervy. I think more time's needed for him, because you don't play for Denmark. They're top 10 in the world. Denmark, you don't play for them if you're rubbish. But so back 4. Ooh.
By the way, mate, we got less than 10 minutes left on this stream, so everybody get your back 4 in, because I don't want the laptops to just go off.
Back 4.
I've literally just said you can't put Ayling and Cooper in the back 4, and I think you want to do it, don't you?
I missed my fullback getting forward. I completely agree with you and everybody that Ayling didn't have a good season.
I agree with you when you said about Joe Gelhardt having 20 minutes and not anything more at the minute. I also think that Click's in that bracket. I also think that Ayling's in that bracket. I don't know if he can play 90 minutes to that standard that we're looking at again. So, Brownie, you'll know when defenses are tired and all this sort of stuff, this is where we've benefited from Gelhardt coming on. When Ayling came on in that Brentford game, everyone was saying, wow, did you see Luke Ayling? It's like Cafu. It's like, obviously, it's going to be like that. It's obviously going to be like that when midfields are tired, defenses are tired. He's able to bomb on forward. Maybe Brentford are just sitting back a little bit, coasting. It's very, very different for the first 70 minutes.
I'm going to say, purely because we're playing Villa and they play a diamond, and there's loads of space to get forward out wide. And I don't know why I'm saying this, because we'll play 9 people in the middle of the pitch. But playing Villa, there is lots of space wide for fullbacks. So I think I'd start him.
But then you're not going to take him out, are you? So he's going to be the starting right back again. Because what if he has an half decent? I know that's
again. It comes to square pegs, because I'd play Struijk in the middle, because I don't want him left back. But then you have to play Firpo left back. I think Llorente has to come out, which means Firpo has to go in, because you need Struijk in the middle. which you know what I mean. You benefit in one place and then weaken in another, and that's the position that we are in.
I think I agree here with this is exactly what you've just said, isn't it? I think you said Ailing, to be fair. But
it's flip of a coin, Rasmus. I think I probably would stick with Rasmus.
Yeah, Steve Brown, interestingly, said here, Rasmus, Koch, Pascal, Yelder. It's not a bad shout, is it? We were talking about Yelder, but once again, it's square pegs, isn't it? But yeah, Yelder, I mean, he's not played at left back we've not started at left back in the Premier League this year, has he? So, but yeah, interesting, mate. It's interesting.
What would yours be?
I think I'd go, I am like you with Rasmus. Now, when you see Ailing doing that, you do get that gloss up, don't you? And that glow up. And you do when you see him doing that, but I just don't know if he'll be able to do that consistently. And I don't know where Leeds go as well if they drop Rasmus. I mean, 6 games in, that's not a good look, is it? But
the only other option, sorry, just before you do it, is keeping Strike at left back, and your replacement for Lorente is Cooper. So it'd be Strike, Cooper, Koch, Rasmus.
Bloody hell. Liam Cooper in 2022, right? But yeah, no, listen, a lot of people think we should be getting him in. I understand it, I get it, but yeah, just flipping out. I mean, the thing is with him, he's gonna, you know what'll happen, don't you, Brownie? 3 games of consistency, and then he'll be out for another 6 months, and it's just the whole cohesion of the back four is going to be up in the air again, and it's just, yeah. I'd probably go Firpo begrudgingly, Strauch, Koch, and then Rasmus, but it's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal.
No, I mean, but again, we're having this conversation, and I mean, everybody could say this if you take that game out of it, but if you take the Brentford game out of it, we've conceded the same amount of goals as Tottenham, 1 less than City. Everybody else has conceded more. So
do you know what the problem is, Brownie? You can't take the Brentford result out of it.
No, you can't. I'm just saying, in the other 5 games.
Listen, if it becomes an outlier, you're right. If it becomes an outlier and that never happens again in the season, fantastic. Yeah. But I'm not 100% sure with the teams that we're going to be facing with how we play. That's not going to happen more than once. But I think we'll do it.
Would you feel comfortable Mitrovic going up against Lorente? That physical.
I think they'd all struggle, mate. I think they'd all struggle against him. I think even Koch would struggle against him. I really do. I think they'd all struggle against him. But listen, mate.
You look at the likes of who else we've got coming up. Bournemouth. That'd be like a big Kiefer Moore. He's been playing.
Well, it'd be Dom Solanke, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So you're looking at 2 games straight away. Big, massive units.
Yep. Yeah. We've got it, and that's maybe where you get the defensive midfielders to sit on your centre backs. Maybe that's going to have to be enforced a little bit, but
just have to see if it is a one-off or not. But I agree. I think Lorente has struggled over the last few games. But hey.
Mate, I'm getting notified by my laptop that we've got a minute left. So listen, we're gonna have to leave it there, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. This has been just a little bit of an off the cuff. Me and Brownie will probably do this when we do the debrief with KG involved as well. But next week, hopefully, with a bit of football is back. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's given you a little bit of relief with exactly what's going on at the minute. It's a bit boring, isn't it? But listen, you got Bayern versus Barca tonight, so hopefully that'll cheer you up. But make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you comment in the section below as well. What do you disagree with? Do you agree with me and Brownie? Let us know, and we'll see you in a bit. Cheers, guys.
Ciao.